We're glad to have you back. With the need to diversify the economy amid the volatility of oil prices, the government has intensified efforts to boost revenue generation from non-oil sources, with tax policy reforms playing a pivotal role in this endeavor. Recall that the federal government is targeting 18% tax to GDP in 3 years and a trillion dollar economy in 10 years. What are the prospects for the economy for this and more? Let's get talking. I'm being joined by the president of the International Center for Tax Research and Development, Mrs. Morenike Babintin Ashaye. She is a chartered accountant and a tax administrator. Thank you so much. Happy New Year to you, ma.
Happy New Year, Tolu. Thank you for inviting me.
Yes, indeed. The federal government's efforts aimed at improving revenue from the non-oil sector is also clear in the 2024 budget. Tell us more about what you think of these efforts.
Well, first of all, let me say that the federal government must be open to the citizens of Nigeria. The federal government met a dead Nigeria, and that the president must let everybody know, so that when the federal government begins all these reforms, everybody will know that they have to tighten their belt. What we have seen, Nigeria must have been dead 3 years ago, and they only showed the president the grave of Nigeria. So now the president needs to take Nigeria out of the grave. And in doing so, it is something that all of us, we have to participate in taking Nigeria out of the grave. Now, there had been a lot of outlines, area of economic development that the 2024 budget has highlighted in the area of manpower development, economic growth, making sure that SMEs are well funded so that they can support economic growth. And when we talk about the national revenue or the non-oil revenue, we are talking about taxes. We are talking about revenue from mineral resources. And government has already, even when the Accountant General made a statement, he said that government has actually improved in 2023 with non-oil revenue collection. But I would want to say, because sometimes when you do not classify all this non-revenue generation, there could be a sort of error. Some of this oil revenue generation could come from outstanding liabilities, tax liabilities. So we need to be specific on what has been collected on a yearly basis with regards to the actual tax, maybe fines and penalties, or maybe back duty assessment, so that we'll be able to compare and contrast that, yes, we are actually moving ahead. So we are hoping, because there are companies income tax, value added tax, we have the customs revenue, the federation account levy, electronic levy. These are areas of non-oil revenue that government can generate. As a matter of fact, the electronic revenue is an area that the government has to improve upon, and I'm glad, because the chairman, the new chairman of Federal Inland Revenue Service, while defending his budget, said that they are looking into these areas and they hope to generate more revenue. I'm also happy that the chairman of Federal Inland Revenue Service has pointed out that taxes will be collected directly, from MDAs, rather than MDAs were using burying money in the bank, not even using it, or even using it and not paying taxes, because they had a lot of taxes to be paid to Federal Inland Revenue Service. So I believe that if we all tighten our belts, if the government, the people, if we can come together, if government can make sure that the economic saboteurs are well taken care of, the political saboteurs are well taken care of, the social saboteurs are well taken care of, I don't see any reason why we cannot succeed in this area that the government has itemized for 2024 budget.
Brilliant. We see Taiwo Oyedele-led committee doing a lot of work, and they've, of course, come out with recommendations, quick wins for government, while working on maybe a broader, a detailed document that they would share with government in strengthening the fiscal side and, of course, tax reforms. What do you make of some of these suggestions given to government?
Well, I think the outcome is brilliant. You know, I've gone through them. There are about 20 items. I'm happy that they are able to tell the government that taxation is not only about revenue generation, it is also about spending. So the government has to be very careful, because when you collect revenue, the people want to see how that revenue is being allocated and distributed. We cannot collect revenue and allocate it to building of infrastructure while the people are crying that they are hungry. So it's important that government has to take note of all these areas that the Oyedele committee came up with. I'm happy that they are talking about disposable income of Nigerians, because most of the companies that are leaving Nigeria now, they are leaving because they know that the people do not have the disposable income anymore. People came to Nigeria because of our population and because they know that we have that money to spend. But when companies begin to wait for 4 months, 3 months before they could sell their goods, of course they will have to go somewhere else where they can sell every month. So I'm happy they are talking about increasing the disposable income of the people. But what is more important is that I think in considering that, the standard of living, the government must be able to determine the standard of living of every Nigerian. It's not that we are collecting 30,000 every month and they say, okay, because they want to increase our disposable income, go home with your 30,000. No. The government must be able to determine a Nigerian adult must have a car, must have a house, must be able to send children to school, must be able to go on holidays, must be able to eat comfortably. So these are things that government will now put values and say that anybody that is going to be employed in Nigeria should not earn less than 250,000 a month. You know, it is based on that we can now be talking about the disposable income. If the standard of living is too low, even if you say go home with everything you have, it's still not going to make any difference. So what is important as far as taxation is concerned is that people must be comfortable. And that standard of living is what I want government to work on. Not just say 30,000. No, that 30,000 cannot take anybody anywhere. Now, also, I like this policy execution of MDAs. You know, that is important, that the MDAs should come together with economic management and the execution team. So they should work together. There's no reason, like I said earlier, for MDAs to be holding money when government needs money. They give them money to carry out a project, they will not do the project. And the money will be, and the government will be looking helter-skelter for loans, whereas the money is inside MDAs in so many of these agencies. So I like that. One thing that I want to point out is this foreign exchange market, which they suggested that there must be no black market. That is very, very key. It's very, very important. The central bank must be in total control of foreign exchange, because it is the duty of the central bank to provide, to supply that currency for Nigerians and for the business and the business community. So it should not delegate that power to somebody else, and that is what is causing our problem. People are trading, and this is what I want to say. If Western economic theory will not work for us, let us do our own economic theory and let it work for us. When they say, oh, sell your currency so that you can know how your currency is moving, we have been selling our currency and we see that our currency is not moving up. So it is a good suggestion. There should be no black market, and those bureau de change, they should be an extension of the central bank, not that they will be selling anything. So if central bank wants you to go and collect your money at point A, then they will be used for that. Not that they will be selling anything. If central bank wants to give them any commission, that is left to central bank. Now they suggested that if anybody is involved in foreign exchange black market, that person should pay excise tax. No, they should not pay any excise tax at all. Anybody that is involved in foreign exchange black market should go to jail for 5 years, because that is economic sabotage. We don't want all these. Nigerians are ready. They will pay the excise tax. How much is it? I will go and pay. No, we want to stop this economic sabotage. If you go ahead and you are selling currency, foreign currency outside central bank, 5 years imprisonment. That is my own suggestion.
Well, that's serious, pretty serious there. But let's now look at our tax policy in its entirety. I'm comparing it now with some African countries. I know countries like Kenya are doing pretty better than us. South Africa are doing better than us. What can be done? One, to improve IGR, of course, non-oil revenues across the board, without necessarily increasing tax rates. That is what Nigerians don't want to hear. They don't want increase. So how do we harness what we have?
I think those that are blaming Nigeria for not meeting up with other African countries are not thinking about the issues that Nigeria has. We have this issue of terrorism. Many people cannot even go to their businesses. We have the issue of interest rate. The interest rate is too high for businesses to grow. And we have the issue of foreign exchange that, is so difficult for businesses to even say, oh, they want to import. So if we look at that, I will not say that we are not doing well. The only thing that we should do is to make sure that the act of terrorism is totally abolished. Government should just do something to make sure that those that are terrorizing Nigerians stop. You cannot imagine, Tolu, there are some state governments today, when they collect their allocation from Abuja, they are going to share it with the terrorists. So how do you expect that those state governments to be able to fulfill their own aspect of economic development in their states when they don't even have the resources? So these are the issues that we cannot just be comparing ourselves with African countries, and people will say, oh, what you should do is just increase VAT. No, that VAT should not be increased at all, because the dilemma we have in this country today, you can hear people shouting. The last time the president came to Lagos, they said, we are hungry, we are hungry. So when you increase VAT, then you want to send them to their grave, to the early grave. And when we are comparing other African countries, especially West African countries, what is their population? If they needed 1 billion naira, Nigeria will get 1 billion naira with even the number of the population they have. And then we will even have more than that. We can even have 10 billion naira when you compare the population. So sometimes when you bring in tax policy or tax rate, it depends on your population. It depends on those who are spending. In Nigeria, we have more people spending than other African countries. So you cannot say, oh, go and increase to 15% or 17% because in other African countries they are doing that. No. And we are not even economically, socially, and politically stable to go and increase any VAT unless we want to turn the government upside down. We should just move away from that. People should just stop talking about it. We are not going to increase any VAT. What is supposed to be done is to make sure that businesses grow. When businesses grow, taxes will be paid. Let the SMEs be well funded. When governments give money to banks to give to SMEs, banks should not go and be granting loans to those who do not need loans. They should make sure that they are able to monitor the SMEs. If they need to have a unit that will help the SMEs to grow, because the problem we are having in Nigeria is that the SMEs, they are just like the farmers. Who will be the one to start planting? Who will be the one to start harvesting? Who will be the one to start going to the market? We need to help them. We should let them concentrate on what they know how to do best. And government should bring extension services to them. It can even be free, because once they have the services of those maybe accountants, lawyers, and so on, they will account, and government will be able to take its own share and then pay for those services. I don't agree that we should increase any VAT, and our problems are not the same with any African countries at all.
Thank you for that response. Our time is gone, but in 1 minute, let's see, or max 2 minutes if we can do this. Fiscal responsibility is key at this time. Do you think we are on track as a country?
We are not on track, Tolu. We are not on track at all. Because when you look at our own country, the way people are so poor, and then we now have government telling us they want to build a vice president house for 51-point-something billion. They want to build chief of staff's house for 10-point-something billion. They want to buy vehicles for almost 7 or 8 billion when people are hungry. They want to do infrastructure. All this infrastructure they have been budgeting for since 1999, and they have not been able to do it. Why are we still budgeting? Those who have collected that money and they did not do the work, those are the people that the government should chase. We should not continue to budget for what should have been done, and we should not deprive, because fiscal responsibility means that you should be honest to the people. You should be able to tell them how much you actually collect as revenue, how much you are spending, and how well that you are allocating these resources. So if we are going to build a house for vice president for 50-something billion, that is wrong allocation. If we are going to buy a vehicle for a legislator for 106 million, that is wrong allocation. When Nigerians are hungry, when Nigerians are going to other countries just to make ends meet. So the fiscal responsibility means that government should be able to show that it is sincere with the people and is working according to the will of the people. The problem we are having, Tolu, is that Nigerians should be careful, because we have to be able now to separate the president from the political party. Because even if the president has good intentions and the political party, his political party does not have good intentions, there's nothing the president can do. Because we have had the cabals before. We have known how strong they are, and we have known how much they have destroyed the country. So we should now be talking. If anything is happening, let's be calling the political party to order, because they are the one ordering the president.
Well, a lot to be done to rejig, revamp Nigeria's economy, and of course generate revenue aside from oil. We'll keep on talking and understanding all of this. I must thank you so much, Mrs. Morenike Babintina Shaye, President, International Center for Tax Research and Development. We appreciate your honest contributions. Do enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, Tolu. Thank you.